I hope by now you've gotten used to writing 2016. I know it's been a challenge for me, but it's kind of hard for a month or so there. And we're happy you're here, and we're kind of gotten to the point now where we're into some seasonal temperatures. Over the month of December there, it was almost like it was April, but we enjoyed that. But now it's more wintertime type temperatures. We know that first semester is drawing to a close. Testing's going on in the schools now, so we know that many teachers, students, as well as parents are prepping very, very hard for those exams. But we're truly happy to have you with us here this evening. And you might see that Dr. Stone is not sitting here today. He is sitting down there. He has been sick over the weekend, and he just didn't want to share his germs. He is on the downside of that cold that he had, or whatever it was, but he is feeling much better. But for tonight we have, and we're happy to have up here with us, Dr. Carol Burns. First item on the agenda is the invocation for the board. I'd like to recognize Mr. Dwayne Knight, the Vice Chairman.
Thank you, Chairman Pennell. As we enter this new year, let us take a moment so each of us can reflect on our own faith and how it affects the 12,000 students of Caldwell County. Please join me in a moment of silence. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Knight. Next, we have our Pledge of Allegiance to the flag, and tonight leading us in that is Cadet Commanding Officer Andrew Brown, 12th grade student at South Caldwell High School. If you'll all stand, and we'll have our Pledge of Allegiance.
Attention. Salute. Pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
You may be seated. Thank you, Andrew. Next is the approval of the agenda, which the board has had opportunity to review. Do I hear a motion that we approve the agenda as has been presented?
Mr. Chairman, I move we approve the agenda as presented.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? And that motion passes. Next, you have minutes. The board has had here again an opportunity to review the minutes of the December the 14th meeting. Do I hear a motion that we approve the minutes of that regular board meeting on December 14th, 2015?
Mr. Chairman, I'll make a motion to approve the minutes of December 14th, 2015 meeting.
Second.
Any comments? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? And motion passes. Next on the agenda is the public comment section, and as of 4:30 this afternoon, we had no public comment, so we'll move on to our honors and recognitions. And I'd like to call on Ms. Libby Brown, Community Relations Director, to come forward and to lead us in this part. And the board's going to move down to the front to congratulate and shake the hands of those who are winning awards. So, Libby?
Good evening, good evening, Board of Education members and Chairman Pennell and board members, Dr. Burns. It's a pleasure to have you up here this evening, Dr. Stone over there, looking on to make sure we do everything correctly this evening. More than 700 students from 146 schools auditioned for the North Carolina Elementary Honors Course. And we would like to congratulate 2 students from Granite Falls Elementary School who were selected for this prestigious statewide chorus. So you think 700 students from 146 schools, and we have 2 of those students right here from Granite Falls Elementary School. So that's something to be very proud of. And hopefully they're here with us this evening. Karma Clark, 5th grade, and this is 2nd year. Come in, yes. And Elsa Hinkle? Elise. Okay, so Elise, excuse me, I'm sorry about Elise Hinkle. Elise is 4th grade. So those were the only 2 in the whole district, and that's very much to be recognized of, to be in that group, that select group. So yeah, let's just do the elementary students first, and then we're going to recognize our middle school students. Congratulations. If you can see, you can after all those flashes. Okay. In the middle school grades, 900 registered to audition for the North Carolina Middle School Honors Chorus, and only 145 students were accepted this year. Congratulations to the following students in the Caldwell County Schools who were part of that 16% of those who auditioned and made the North Carolina Middle School Honors Chorus. We're going to start with Hudson Middle School, Kurt Hensley. And yes, Mr. Hensley, come here. Very proud of you. And then the other students come from William Lenore Middle School. We have 7 students from William Lenore Middle School. Honesty Howell, 7th grader. Okay. And let me back up for a second because Andrea Evans. Andrea's here. I wanted to recognize the course director from Granite Falls Elementary School because that took a lot of... And Andrea is always so good to send me the results, so I really like her. And Sherry January is the director for Hudson Middle School, and she couldn't be with us this evening. But Carla Reed, director for William Lenore Middle School, is here. So Carla, why don't you come up with your group? Yeah. Okay, Samuel Norman, and Samuel is 7th grade. I don't know if Samuel is here. Okay. Dylan Phoenix, 7th grader. Mia Ricks, and Mia, this is her 2nd year participating, 8th grade. Yeah. Jaden Riddle, and Jaden is also an 8th grader, 2nd year participating. Very difficult to do that.
He also,
Yeah, that's why I wanted you to tell that story about him.
he was the high scoring tenor 2 in the state of North Carolina.
High scoring tenor.
I thought that was pretty
I think that's pretty good,
And
yeah.
last year he auditioned as an alto and he was the highest scoring alto 2 in the state.
Wow.
So,
Mhm. Yeah. So he may be scheduled for a solo in your next concert.
I'll be ready to do it.
Yeah. Okay, and there's Elijah Sudreth. He's also 8th grader. See, okay, and Caitlin Wilson. Okay, so we have these young folks with us this evening. We're very proud of you, so let's give them a big round of applause. you want to squeeze in there? Do you want to get in there with them?
Not really.
Okay.
Yeah, Miss
We'll
Vaughn
do-
could go up.
Yes, and Lisa Vaughn, principal from William Lenore Middle School, is here this evening supporting her students. Let's see, is Julia here? Let's see, Julia. Andrea, is anyone here? Chris? Let's see, Chris, okay. I know. That almost seemed as difficult as trying out for auditions, huh? But you guys did a good job. Thank you. Now, we're going to turn our attention to. Sarah, you've got one? Okay. Okay. Now we're going to turn our attention to someone in the community, Deborah Ashley Smith, if you'll come forward. You want to stand up there with the board? Okay. We'd like to honor and recognize a dear friend to public education, Deborah Ashley Smith. In her 16 years as president of the Caldwell County Chamber of Commerce, Deborah was instrumental in partnering, organizing, or continuing the following projects that have had a lasting positive effect on the district: celebration of student success, CCS Leaders Tours of Caldwell for aspiring administrators, and I should give you another certificate for being the best storyteller in Caldwell County, and she really is. CIS Reality Store, Careers in Focus, CIS Youth Leadership Academy, educational sessions for compensatory education students. So that's just a few of the things that Deborah has created or continued while president of the Chamber of Commerce. We applaud your leadership and your commitment to Caldwell County, and we congratulate you on your successful tenure as president of the Caldwell County Chamber of Commerce. We hate to see you go, but we wish you continued success in your new endeavors. So thank you for being a friend to education. Dr. Stone, are you off limits for shaking hands?
Yes,
this
yes,
evening?
yes.
You can wave.
I'll wave, yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
You know how it is.
Oh, I know. That's your part, yes. Would you like to say a few words after your photo? Yeah, sure. Want to say a few words?
Really, the only thing I would like to say is I know from my interaction with other communities and chambers of commerce and meetings that the opportunity to partner is not available in every community. So as much as it would be nice for us to take credit for all of the good that has come from the partnership, that would be incorrect, because it is the school system, the partners with the school system, and the leadership in the school system that allows the business community to engage with the students and allows us to make a difference, because we all know that it is a great return on investment when you invest in the students today, because the success of our businesses tomorrow will be totally dependent on what we're doing today to prepare them to be part of our workforce. So we appreciate all that you did to make my tenure at the Chamber successful. Thank you.
Thank you. And we have one final honor and recognition is for our Board of Education. This month is North Carolina School Board Appreciation Month, and we would like to take this moment to recognize the dedicated service of the Board of Education members. As John F. Kennedy said, we must find time to stop and thank the people who make a difference in our lives. You make a difference in the lives of students, parents, teachers, staff, and administrators in the Caldwell County Schools. We appreciate your commitment to public education and thank you from the bottom of our hearts for your service on the Caldwell County Board of Education. Thank you.
You're welcome to stay. We're glad you're here. But now would be an appropriate time if you choose to go to do some schoolwork or eat dinner or try to get out before it gets any colder. Get on back home. But thank you for being here.
To say what it is on behalf of the staff for the school board.
Okay. You want to go ahead?
Yes. While they're leaving, Mr. Pennell gave me a minute to say to the board on behalf of the staff, we too appreciate you. We appreciate your willingness to run for office and the time that you put in, because we realize it's a lot of time. We often see you at ball games and all of the events within the school. But for the staff members, we appreciate the fact that you let us do our job without looking over our shoulders all the time, and you hold us to high standards, but you let us do our work, and that's very important to people who work with children and work on behalf of children every day. So we thank you for that.
I second
Thank you, Dr. Burns. Next, on behalf of Dr. Stone, I'm going to turn this portion of their meeting over to Dr. Burns.
Okay, we have a presentation concerning the Special Olympics by Mr. Bob Brown, who is the coordinator for that program. And Bob, if you'll come up. It's good to work with Bob again. I've worked with him in many roles as a teacher and administrator, but most of all as a parent.
Appreciate it. Thank you. Dr. Stone, thank you for the opportunity to present tonight, and members of the board. We have worked together for many years with Special Olympics in Caldwell County, and a lot of you folks have been a big factor individually in contributing to your time and working very hard. I'm here tonight to represent approximately 500 special needs athletes, coaches, and staff who are presently preparing for the winter season. And the state of North Carolina has made some major changes in Special Olympics. And as a result of that, there's a bigger need for assistance. We need volunteers. We need help in many ways. But I want to personally also thank you for all the things that you've done for me and my family over the last 40 years in education. Being a 35-year veteran in the education system, I know how tough it is, and I appreciate all your efforts. The purpose of my visit tonight is to ask for your assistance, to allow us to continue to come into the schools and work with the physical education staff and the administrators and the teachers to expand the Special Olympics program in the schools and outside the schools. We presently have 2 school games that you're very aware of, the Winter Games and the Spring Games. With Winter Games this year will be February the 17th, again at South Caldwell High School, and we'd love to have you to attend if at all possible. The resources that we have been allocated, or we for the school games is totally based on community and individual donations and the civic organizations. We do have 2 civic organizations that help us with our school programs. But the cost for these 2 games run an average of $7,000 a year, depending on participation of the donors and also the participation of the athletes. Last year, the cost was a little over $7,000 total for the year. As the coordinator for the county, and this is my 3rd year as being coordinator for Special Olympics, I've had a firsthand awakening on how hard it is to develop resources to operate the programs. And with that being said, what I asked is that you would consider to help fund a portion of the school games. And I have talked individually with most of you. The things that we need help with, of course, are awards, the T-shirts, and the rental fees. The food is donated every year by the Rotary Club, and the school staff at South Caldwell and the school staff at West Caldwell help with that. The other things we try to get donated, but individual donations come in for that. Corporate sponsors, this year, we just received our corporate sponsorship for Pepsi-Cola, which I want to recognize them tonight. They gave us a check for $1,000. They gave us a check at Christmas for $500 for our Christmas event, where we take 15 students from DSS families, and the Special Olympics go out and we get Christmas for those folks. And they helped us out with that. Please consider funding these portions of the school games. Now, our budget for this proposed year is $22,000. And this past year's budget expense through October 31st, I requested through the state our total year budget and expenditures, but they only have it calculated through October 31st. Now, our revenue was $15,843, and our expenses to that point was $15,600. So for the past 2 years, we basically have broke even. With the change of the venue, which now they've gone from 3 state games to 2 state games, it's going to require that our athletes spend an additional night in Raleigh and in High Point for the school games. So we're looking at an increase from $2,000 to $4,000 for our state games on those things. We also would ask that any way that you, as an individual and with your influence, can help us to find other resources to help our program. Right now, we need tons of volunteers. With the school games coming up, right now we're needing 50 volunteers to take care of the winter games. Now, we get a lot of volunteers from our Project Unified programs at Granite Falls Middle School and South Caldwell High School. We do have some individuals who have been diehards, but we have only a small group of folks who have devoted a ton of time over the last 25 years. My goal as coordinator is to provide more awareness of what we're doing, what we're about, what we offer, and try to increase our participation across the board. Athletes, we want to get into the schools and offer as much as we can for these Earth Angels. And I call them Earth Angels because I have one. They're special individuals. So anything that you can do to assist, we greatly appreciate. And I thank you for your time. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Bob.
If you got any
And
questions, just
the board will consider all of this. Do anyone have a question for Bob?
you should have a packet of information that I sent to each of you that lays out our program totally. Thank you.
Rob, we appreciate you being here, and certainly the board has in the past been very supportive. We've been to a number of the events, and we want to continue to support in any way that we can. And Dr. Stone, I'm sure that we can look for ways that we can continue our support.
Thank you very much.
Okay. Thank you, Bob.
Bob.
Burns?
The next item is the proposed revisions to the board policy manual that you've had for 30 days. And I wanted to remind you that we have a completely updated manual. Very well done. We worked with the School Boards Association on that, and it is absolutely great. But we change policies, and they give us updates when there is a state board policy change or a state or federal law. So you've had a group of 12 of those and plus 2 new policies for 30 days. And I do want to tell you that when the staff receives those, we go over those word by word by word before we send them. Sometimes we go back and forth with Christine and getting those exactly right. It's an excellent process, and they've just started work on our administrative manual, and this is a yeoman's job to get that done. So we shall see, but our recommendation is that these be approved as they were presented to you for 30 days.
Mr. Chairman, I move that we approve the changes to our policy manual as they have been presented to us.
Thank you. Do we hear a second?
Second the motion.
Any comments, any questions?
I'm glad we've got a resource
Oh, I am
like that.
too.
I tell you,
To stay on top of all these changes, because otherwise we'd probably have to visit Dr. Burns at Broughton.
Sometimes it's just a reference that they're changing.
Yeah.
But they keep it right up to date meticulously.
and you would appreciate it as well. Sometimes it's grammatical.
Yes.
Yes.
Did we get any feedback in the 30 days from anyone? Anybody present?
Not a bit. I should have told you, not one. Not one word.
Okay, any other comments or questions? So we have a motion and a second in regards to these various policies that have been updated. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? And motion passes. Thank you, Dr. Burns. Next, we have Dr. Trish Johnson, Associate Superintendent for Human Resource Services.
Mr. Chairman, members of the board, Dr. Burns and Dr. Stone, I have 3 items for your attention this evening, beginning with Exhibit 3. Exhibit 3 includes usual and customary items, personnel matters, that are presented for your information only. Exhibit 4 includes usual and customary personnel items requiring action. I respectfully recommend approval of these items as they have been presented to you.
Do I hear a motion that we approve the usual and customary personnel matters as presented?
Mr. Chairman, I move that we approve the usual and customary personnel action items as presented.
Second.
And a second. Any comments, questions? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? And motion passes.
Okay, and then Exhibit 5, student transfers. There is a revision. You should have received a revised sheet, summary sheet at your places prior to the meeting. There were a total of 9 student transfer requests received since your December board meeting. Of the 9 received requests, 7 of those meet established board criteria. 2 are not recommended for approval. If approved this evening, that brings the total approved transfers to 678. And again, I'd like to point out that of those 7 approved, 2 are currently attending. So it looks like our numbers are always high, but I like to always remind everyone that these are students that are moving within from district within the school year. If approved, that bring the total approved to 678. I respectfully recommend approval of the transfer request as they've been revised.
Do I hear a motion that we approve the 2015-2016 student transfers as have been presented and as has been revised?
Mr. Chair, I move that we approve the 2015-16 student transfers as presented.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any comments, questions? All those in favor say aye. Any opposed? And motion passes.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Johnson. Next on the agenda, we have the Associate Superintendent for Auxiliary Services, Dr. Jeff Church.
Good evening, members of the board, Mr. Panel. Dr. Stone, Dr. Burns. You have before you Exhibit 6, Wellness Church. Dr. Jerry Bentley has come before Mr. Schreiber at Granite Falls Middle School, and they're asking to rent the facility, the theater, and a classroom at the school for a period of 90 days. And as you know, anything that goes before, anything that's going to be a church service has to go before our Board of Education. We looked through, everything looks okay. Respectfully request that we approve this proposal.
Do I hear a motion that we approve the facility rental as mentioned by Dr. Church, the Wellness Church that will be at Granite Falls Middle School using the theater as well as one classroom? Is there a motion?
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion we approve the rental facilities at Granite Falls Middle School for the Wellness Church.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any comments, questions?
Have they provided the necessary stuff on the bottom, the certificate of liability?
I've been in contact with him, and he was wanting to wait until it was approved, and then he will before the first meeting. So he hasn't provided it yet. We'll handle all the administrative part on our
Well, I
department.
just wondered if that was.
It will be here, yes.
And all of this is according to our policy.
It's all according to
Okay.
policy, yes, sir.
Any other questions, comments? All those in favor say aye. Any opposed? And motion passes.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Church. Next, we have our Finance Director, David Johnson.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman, board members, and Dr. Burns. I have 3 budget amendments for your approval tonight. The first one is for the State Public School Fund. It is an increase in appropriations of $502,576. It's for the Willie M. Homeless, school connectivity, transportation, and sub-reimbursement costs through November. The second budget amendment that I have tonight is for the Federal Grants Fund. It is for initial allocations of PRC 101 Title V. It's in the amount of $57,674. The third grant I have is for the Special Grants Fund, and it is for $9,000 for the Circles grant provided by the UNC Charlotte. I recommend approval of these 3 amendments as submitted, bringing the total for Caldwell County Schools to $114,869,591.
Okay, do I hear a motion that we approve these budget amendments to the State Public School Fund, the Federal Grant Fund, as well as the Special Grant Fund?
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion we approve the budget amendments for State Public School Fund, Federal Grant Fund, and Special Grant Fund as presented with Mr. Johnson.
Is there a second? Second. Any questions, comments?
It's always good that you're getting more money instead of less.
Yeah,
That
like more
makes us
money.
happy.
Like more money.
Any other comments, questions? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? And motion passes.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Johnson. Appreciate it. Next on the agenda is superintendent announcements. I don't know if Dr. Stone wants to announce from over there or if
Dr. Burns may have an announcement.
Okay, very good.
He's going to let me take his time. I wanted to take a few minutes to talk to the board about, we've been waiting on the authorization, the reauthorization of what we know as ESEA, which of course everybody knows in education was 1965, but it's been reauthorized a number of times. So we've been waiting and waiting and waiting on that to go through Congress. So now we have it. So now our bid is, I wanted to tell you that the House did their part on July the 8th, 2015. And the Senate did theirs on July the 16th. Then they had to make some adjustments based on the waivers that are in place, and then it's gone through a conference report, And what that is, in case you don't know about legislation, is to put those two pieces together. So now we, as well as the state, and all the states are trying to go through what does it say. So it's several hundred pages. I won't go through all of that one. But what we're doing right now is what I've been doing with the staff and working through us. You see, I'm holding this is 40 pages of what it said, what the House said, what the Senate said, and here's what we think it says. So it will be a while until we know. We do know a couple things. I've been trying, if those of you following the administrative notes, to break it down for the principals very succinctly so they can understand what we understand. There are a few things that you need to know already. Much of the accountability will come back to the state, so we'll be able to choose some of our own goals. That will be good. Could be very bad, though, if we're not able to do that on our own and do it very well. We were all concerned about testing. The testing is still in there. The states have to test students in reading and math, grades 3 through 8, and once in high school, and you still have to have a 95% testing rate. What is different is the districts can use a different nationally recognized test, but it has to be approved by the state, which means we could use the ACT or the SAT instead of the test. So you can say standards, I thought you might be interested in that. States are required to adopt challenging standards, whatever that means. It could be Common Core, it doesn't have to be, but the U.S. Secretary of Education cannot tell you which one to use. So you see what we're doing right now is trying to figure out what it says. So as soon as we get through all these pages, we will know. There's some 21 programs that are funded through this. And of course our largest one being Title I. It's Title I through Title V. But our largest one, of course, is the Title I program that is in all of our elementary and middle schools. So I'm sure as you go to your various meetings and so forth, and especially, Dot, as you go to your meeting in Washington, they will be telling you what it says. So when they do, you come back and tell me all that it says, because that's what we'll be doing for a couple months now, is what does it say? What do we have to do? And it's written in congressional jargon.
Yeah, I'm sure.
So that will be our task in the days ahead, and I'm sure we'll spend some time together trying to figure out what it says. Our bet will be to use it to the advantage of the school system. That's all I have.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Burns. Board, you have at your site there a list of the committees. I've had an opportunity over the past week to talk to each of you in regards to this. So I think this is kind of what we've settled on. And certainly I want to thank all the board for the great job they've done over the past year. I think, everything has run really smooth, and the committees have done well. And I appreciate all the hard work that everybody is doing. But I think everybody is in agreement with those committees that we have there. Announcements, of course, early release will be coming up this Friday. It'll be the end of the second grading period, and students in our traditional schools will be out on Monday and Tuesday. And then, of course, we're going to have our community meeting. This will be at West Caldwell High School at 6 o'clock on the 25th of January. And the next day, the 26th, will be report card release day for those students for the second grading period. And then on February 8th, we'll be back here in the boardroom for our February Board of Education meeting. Any comments, any questions, anything?
I apologize in advance for the fact that I will miss the community board meeting in West Caldwell, because as Dr. Burns said, I will be in Washington, D.C. at the National Legislative Conference, getting ready to hit them up on Capitol Hill on Tuesday morning. So hope for warmer weather because sometimes it's really freezing up there. So,
We'll come
but
back
we
with all the
will,
answers.
yes, Dr. Burns and I collaborate on my speech that I deliver to our members of Congress. So,
Very good, very good.
I'd like to say a special thank you to our music teachers in the county for providing the opportunities that they provide for our students at the county level and at the state level to really make a difference as far as music and performing arts in Caldwell County schools. Chorus and band at the middle school and high school level, and the music teachers at the elementary, they just all do an outstanding job.
absolutely, absolutely.
And I also want to say congratulations to
Yes,
Papa
Grandpa.
Joe's
Grandpa
Museums,
Joe.
Thank you.
Grandbaby Jack.
Yep. I wanted to sort of add to what she said about the course and the bands, and as the students were coming up and names were called, it seemed it was almost 50% of the ones there were males, which is tremendous because the way I remember years ago, if you saw a course, it was usually maybe 2 males out of 20. I don't know how the number equals out now, but I thought that was tremendous that we had that good of a showing. So thanks to all the course and band for what they do for our school system.
And also to Robert Simple and Bob Brown, the difference they're making in the lives of children with Special Olympics.
Absolutely.
Appreciate that.
If one of us wins the lottery, you won't have to worry about that. Of course, if we bought a ticket, we'd have, what is it, the
Better
1 in
chance.
292
292
million chance.
But you gotta buy.
Yeah, you gotta buy a
somebody
ticket to
will.
get a chance, so.
Anyone else? Do I hear a motion, we adjourn?
Move we adjourn.
Is there a second?
Second the motion.
All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? And we are adjourned. Have a good evening. Try to stay warm.